Leeds United 2, Manchester United 4. Manchester United I'm going to say it, battered Leeds again. We've battered them, Jay. It didn't feel like it at the time, but 4-2. We've scored 4 goals against the bastards, and we've battered them. You've lost your head at one point. You just gave me a laptop and went, "You're going to do this. I've lost my head." How are you feeling?
I'll tell you what, right? Honestly, it's so good. Do you know what I love about that game as well, right? That is better. It only sounds stupid, but if you beat them 4-0, it's it's great. Obviously, you just stroll into it. Great, always great to win them, beat them. But it's like Old Trafford when they got that goal. When they got that goal at Old Trafford, they were all celebrating, and then we got a goal straight away.
Yeah.
And like tonight, they get 2 goals in 24 seconds.
Yeah.
They're so deflated, so angry. Everything, you're going through the whole emotion. You're like, I can't believe this is happening. Top 4's out the window. Leeds fans are going berserk, loving it and all that. And then to not just beat him, but beat him comfortably in the end as well. And the style we did it, Fred coming on, and Elanga, who got hit by a coin by those absolute scumbags, to get the fourth and just give it all that.
Brilliant.
As he ran past the Leeds fans. It's just poetic.
So
Absolutely poetic. This is why I love football.
Yeah, you were saying before, do you know that saying about how it's the hope that kills you? Yeah. You were reveling in the fact that Leeds fans had some hope and have therefore been killed by that hope. So that's what United do. Oh, you want this? You hungry, are you? You hungry, are you? Fuck off! Eat rocks, nerd. That's what we do. You love it. Oh, do you want a bit of food? Look at these Leeds, but they're hungry, aren't they? Give them a goal. Give them another goal. And that's your lot. Now we're scoring 4, you dickheads. He absolutely loved it. I love it.
This is like beating him in the opening day of the
I love
season
seeing you
was amazing at Old Trafford. It was rammed. Varane getting announced. That was probably the best day we've had so far this season. It was just amazing to take him to pieces the way we did. But today, it's a different feeling because there's so much resting on this game as well. We needed a win. We do. Like, you look at Spurs back in the mix. You look at the way Arsenal have been playing well. You look at the fact that Chelsea have sort of taken themselves out of that conversation where you might have thought, are they going to slip out of the top 4?
Again,
yeah. So we needed a win today. Can't keep drawing games. And what annoyed me, or what was worrying me, was if we draw today after being 2-0 up, we go to Atletico deflated. We go to Atletico thinking, with that in the back of your mind, and sort of, you're not sort of confident, you're not feeling like you've got momentum. We've now got 2 big wins under our belt on the spin. You go to Atletico and you think, we didn't play all that. We rested some players today. We obviously took Pogba off at a certain time. Marcus didn't even get a game. I expect him to feature at some point. I don't know if he's going to mix up the defence. I think Varane should play in the Champions League and expect him to. He didn't play until the last 10 minutes today. So it was a sort of perfect one in game management and a perfect result as well. And, like the graphic says, battered Leeds. Again, I can't believe we played Leeds, 4 times in the last 2 years, whatever it's been. We've battered them 3 times.
I know. It's good, isn't it? And the other one was the most boring game I've ever seen in my entire life. But forget that one. Think of the other 3. We've got a super chat here from Humsey. He says, love the dogfight. Was gobsmacked when Pogba came off, but Ralph Rangnick made the right call and can definitely see improvement over the weeks. Still lots to do. Talk about Fred a little bit. Obviously, we were in the same boat thinking, well, I think you said we just massively downgraded the midfield.
Weak in our midfield. Because Pogba, for me, in the conditions, was the one player who the conditions almost suited him. Because he was his control is as good as anyone's on the planet. It is. And he wasn't miscontrolling it. He was keeping hold of the ball. The Leeds players were struggling to get him off it. He was picking the right pass, unlike some of our midfielders. He wasn't trying to just play these Hollywood balls. He was just picking the right pass. And I thought, the more we got the ball to him, the more confident I was because he was keeping possession nicely. So when he came off, at first I was like, what we're doing, but then I think I said it on a watch along. Okay, Atletico. I'm guessing we made the decision before the game.
It's 66 minutes as well, which is quite early.
We'll give you 60 odd minutes, then you take it off because we need you to start in Madrid. And let's not forget, in the last month or so, he hasn't played. In the last sort of 6 months, he hasn't played loads of football. No. In the last month, he has. So you've got to manage him properly. So it made sense, but not in my wildest dreams when Fred came on did I think he was going to absolutely rifle one in the way he did. It took me a second because I thought it hit the side netting when it went in. Yeah. And Fred was mint when he came on.
It was a great goal that as well, wasn't it? It was down that right-hand side, ball played across into Ronaldo. Ronaldo, I think he played back to Fred, who then played it to Sancho, and then Sancho sort of knocked it for the overlap, and Fred just smashed it in near post. Mesle probably should do better. You shouldn't be conceding at your near post, but great little move and great to see Fred on the end of it as well, wasn't it?
It was, and listen, Fred's he's one of those players, he gets a bit of stick, but there's a lot to like about Fred. Me and you early in the season were talking about how no matter what, Fred was always up for it. Yeah. And I know that's like a low bar, but you look at the games against Liverpool, the games against City, those types of games, the games where we were just struggling, he was at least trying, he was up for the fight, he was trying to get those around him going. We've seen him under Rangnick, he got a goal against Crystal Palace. I know it was sort of Carrick was still managing, but Randy could come in. In the second half against Arsenal, he played really well. So he has put in those performances. And today, if you're a manager and you bring on someone like Fred and he does what he did, you can't be grateful enough to him because it was just absolutely perfect, his performance, you know. Kept winning the ball, kept hold of it. And also, and I love this, and we were talking about in the watch-along, when it kicks off, he's right in the thick of it. Yeah. And you know what? When it kicks off with Leeds, if you don't want to know about that, if you're not interested when a 19-year-old starts getting abuse off one of Leeds players, then throw your shirt, United shirt in a bin and do one to another club because that's the minimum you should expect. And all the team are having it.
Well, that's the thing.
I love that.
It's a duck here with the super chat. Thank you. Says, good old Leeds. Just when I was beginning to have a bit of a liking towards them, the fans show their true colours and I snap back to reality. Same old scummy Leeds. And this game to me had the feeling of a rivalry on the pitch, off the pitch. Obviously, the coins and all that shit is too far, and you know whatever. But it felt like we're playing against a team we don't like, and they don't like us. Yeah. And it felt like on the pitch, and it felt good that there was that extra energy to it, didn't it?
Do you know what you hit the nail on the head when you said the most boring game ever? And I think it was behind closed doors.
Yeah, it was.
And it didn't feel like United versus Leeds. There wasn't a crowd there. There wasn't anything going there. It was just like there wasn't even any dirty. There was a couple of challenges, but nothing where it was all kicking off.
Yeah.
Today, obviously, the crowd are massively up for it. It is a powder keg when you go to Elland Road. It's nothing like it, and you know you can feel that they get those goals as well. The crowd are absolutely buzzing. Then you've got players trying to get Scott McTominay sent off. Elanga gets hit by a coin. That's going to rattle players. Not rattle him in a bad way, but sort of G him up a little bit. I'm not having this. And then when I think there's a lad junior ran past, it's a foul on Elanga, I think it is, or whatever. And he runs past and starts giving a bit of grief. And you think, like, even a few months ago, I think this United team don't get involved. I think they just leave that. And I think, we'll just take the free kick. But they didn't. They were straight over there. Shaw and Bruno and Fred and everyone getting involved. Leeds players getting involved. And I want to see that. You've got to let people know. You know what? We're not going to be bullied. And there was a time when this United team was getting bullied this season, and it cost us games. And not anymore. You can see that. And all right, Leeds aren't the best team. Sorry, so we can't go. This is it. We've turned a corner because we're turning to turn a corner FC. But it's a big result and a massively positive one before we go to Madrid.
And like we said on the watch along the other week when Elanga gets the Brighton player sent off, it started off as a booking, and then Maguire, everyone piles in on the referee. It gets overturned. I don't think it was necessarily because of the actions of the players, but you want to see that way. It's not just we'll leave it for VAR and hope for the best. Let's get in and show them that we're not having it. And obviously, it just shows a bit of a mentality of we're fighting together and we're not just going to sit back and let whatever happens. It's good. I love seeing that.
You know, you said it about Anthony Martial. You said when you do something and it doesn't work, or when you, even to keep the crowd happy or whatever, or the fans happy, show something different. Yeah. Try that, yeah? When it's not working for you, try something. And I'm not just saying you should bow to peer pressure or whatever, but you should also, try and give your best performances for United. If that's not working, try that. Now, with Maguire, he's not that type of player at times to go and always get involved. But you can see that there's a lot of attention now on the captaincy. There's a lot of people looking at him going, okay, what are you bringing to this captaincy role? And if he's bringing a bit of that to it, more power to him. That's what I want to see from a captain. If a Leeds player is giving our kids a bit of grief, I want to see my captain going over there and saying, I don't think so, sunshine. If the referee's getting things wrong, I want to see the captain in his face. I'm all about that. People used to say to me, you shouldn't, Wayne Rooney when he was skipper or whatever, moans too much, or Keano moans too much. It's nonsense that. I want to see my captain getting involved in everything and letting people know that when you play against Manchester United, you've got a fight on your hands.
Yeah, definitely. And on Maguire then, I thought he had a good game today defensively.
Yeah,
didn't really put a foot wrong. And crucially, scoring United's first goal from the corner all season in the, I think, 140th attempt. That's a massive thing to have lifted. He was talking about it after the game, saying how we're embarrassed about that stat as a team. We knew about it, obviously. Every time the ball comes in from the corner, we're thinking, fucking hell, there's another one. And it's good for him to get that, and also good for the club to finally score from a corner and take this stat that was on the screen when the ball went in, 139 corners, 0 goals.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I mean, I think that there was all this attention. We were speaking about him before the game, Maguire, about how, the pressure was on him a little bit because of the captaincy situation, how it had been escalated. We'd had, articles in the newspapers that him, Radnick and Ronaldo had a meeting, and that, it's sort of he'd had to almost sing for his supper in terms of keeping the captaincy. He'd said those stories were rubbish. Then you have the added thing about the corners. A lot of, again, it sounds crackers when you've got Ronaldo and the likes of Marcus Rashford or whoever in your team. I know he's not very good in the air, but you've got attackers in your team, yet people, again, on corners are looking at Maguire and going, you keep winning all these headers, you score for England with corners, why don't you do it for us? He was even getting grief for that. So for him to get the goal from a corner, I think, again, I keep using that word poetic. It was pretty poetic. He needed it.
Yeah.
And he needed it on many levels. And I think today, the thing with Maguire is, right, let's just treat him fairly. Let's not be crazy about it. Let's not just say, oh, he's either the worst signing we've ever had or he's the greatest defender in the history of Manchester United Football Club. Let's try and just be level and say, okay, what have we just watched? And what I just watched then from Harry Maguire was a very good performance.
Yeah.
A good goal, a good solid performance, a good captaincy performance as well. Ticked all the boxes for me, Maguire. I'll give him stick when he's rubbish. Trust me on that one. You've seen some of my post-match reviews this season, but today I thought he was very good and just what we needed from him.
Yeah, Jaden Sancho, another good performance, 2 assists, great on the ball, just looks so much more dangerous now than he did at the start of the season. He's sort of doing the same things, but he's just doing them with more confidence. He's doing them half a step earlier, isn't he? He's going past his man, he's finding those balls in behind. That chip cross to Bruno for the second goal, absolutely brilliant, wasn't it?
As a striker, as an attacker, you must love balls like that.
Yeah.
Because it's almost in slow motion for you, because you can see the ball the way he chipped it. It's like, he's not whipped it, has it? He chips it, so you've got your time right, I can time this right, boom, it's in his path as well. Beautiful. I think with Sancho, I mean, it doesn't seem that long ago that I've seen some rubbish on Twitter or whatever, and I know you see a lot of rubbish on Twitter.
Yeah, it's hard to find anything other than rubbish on Twitter most of the
time. Who's been the worst signing this season? Jack Grealish or Jaden Sancho? Come on, it's not even a conversation, is it? No. Jaden Sancho's last few weeks has been fantastic. Again, difficult conditions, skipping past players, laying it on the plate. He should have had 2 assists, really.
He did get 2 assists.
3 assists. Sorry, for the one for the Elanga. I'm not going to dig him out, but he should have scored.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just a fantastic performance all around from Jaden Sancho. And why we bought him.
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing wingers or attackers not running at the fullback, not trying to go past the fullback. Jaden Sancho does it so well. He wants the ball all the time. His only thing when he gets the ball is run with it, get behind him. How can I create something? And I think, I don't want to jinx it, but I can't wait to see him against Atletico. I think he's going to cause them all sorts of problems.
Yeah, me too. That style of play. Someone else as well, Bruno Fernandes, who I think the biggest problem with him early in the season was it felt like for the first time in his United career, games would go by without him involving or him being involved and him kind of orchestrating them. It's back to the point now where if a goal goes in for Manchester United, he either scored it, assisted it, or probably had the touch before that.
Yeah.
He's right back. He's involved in everything again, isn't he, now? It's good to see him back there.
He is. And the thing with Bruno Fernandes, he's one of those players I feel like, especially with, again, you can't go off social media too much, but, football Twitter, as they call it, he's judged almost solely on stats now. Because stats are used to defend him, people go, we can't knock him. He gets a goal or an assist every game. Look how good he is. So when he doesn't get either of them, people go, he's done nothing. He doesn't do anything. So it feels like stats are important, more important to him than someone like Paul Pogba, for example, where people don't really use stats to justify Pogba's performances, do they?
No.
Whereas with Bruno, they do. So it's a stick to beat him with. He hasn't got the stats to back it up. And he has now. He's scoring goals. He's creating chances. And today, what I loved about Bruno is, the biggest issue you have with Bruno, when things get difficult, is he loses his head a lot. And when he loses his head, I don't just mean he's like flying into fouls, which he can do. He's trying to shoot from 50 yards. He's trying 100-yard passes. He's trying to, beat 7 players, whatever. And you're like, what are you doing? Chill out. But today, he kept his head. He was productive, and he helped us in the sort of latter stages of the game. You saw it, I think, was it for the 4th goal, where he was involved heavily. It was just an all-round great performance.
He gets the assist, doesn't he? Flicks the ball over the over his shoulder.
Sorry, yeah. Great assist. I can't even forgot that. That's how good it is. Like, lovely little trick. Unlike Bergkamp, he meant it. And it's like, absolutely great performance. And, look at Bruno today. I mean, who were the goals today? Who was it? It was Maguire, Bruno,
Elanga.
Fred and Elanga. 4 players that sort of didn't just get goals well, had a big impact on the game in other places as well. Elanga caused them all sorts of problems when he came on. Fred was obviously great when he came on. And Bruno had a great game as well. And Maguire was spoken about. So it's just such a good all-round team performance for, other than those 2 minutes, where the minute where we consider goals, throughout the game. Yeah. This wasn't a first-half performance or a second-half performance. It was a 88-minute performance, if you can call it that, which is what we've been missing at United.
Abdullah Ibrahim, the Super Chat, says, the Leeds fans reminded me of why I had no liking for them when they were promoted. I don't like the fact that they are liked because of the atmosphere they create. The fan who threw the coin should be binned. Yeah, I don't know if he meant binned or banned or both. Yeah. But presumably will be.
Listen, I'm not going to pretend that I've not shouted grief at players. I have. Yeah. You do that. Do you know what I mean? I've tempered it a little bit when I reach my 40s. But players, fans do.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years
Under
ago.
Van Gaal, he was still slinging absolute horror shows at people.
But we've all shouted at players and sworn at them, and it's part and parcel of the game, but there's a line. And when you start throwing objects at people, throw it at any player is bad enough, but throwing it at a 19-year-old is just pathetic, especially when you think, right, this is the first game in, 17 years between United and Leeds in the Premier League where there's been a crowd there, and that's how you've reacted. At least have the dignity to go, you know what, we gave him an atmosphere today. We showed him what it's about to come to Elland Road. But it's not, is it? We gave him an atmosphere, but we're also now probably going to get an FA charge because we've thrown coins at children because that's how thick we are.
Sajan says, Pogba and Sancho close control is excellent. It suits them. I know we've already spoken about it. I'm so happy Sancho's looking good now. It's just so exciting to see,
It is just on the Paul Labille front now. It's bittersweet, isn't it?
I know.
He's
Double-edged
amazing.
sword.
He's as good as anyone on the planet when he's like that.
Yeah,
he is. And people go, CT. Seriously, he is. That's why he's who he is. And I can't convince myself because he's playing better that he's going to stay, because I don't think he will. I wish he would, because there's no way on God's earth we replace him, by the way. We don't. We probably give, Van der Beek more game time next year or whatever. And he's, despite what you think about Van der Beek, he ain't as good as Paul Pogba.
We'll re-sign Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, something like that.
Promising we'll play him for again
yeah,
this season.
it's just, we're going to... My only hope with Paul Pogba is we convince him that, if he wants to leave as a legend, he helps us win the Champions League.
Yeah, get that under your belt first, lad. Zachary Young says, Bruno's flicker of the defender needs proper attention, giving it away a couple of times, but he's always trying, fighting for each other too. You said there, it's like the Bergkamp flick, but he actually meant it. It was brilliant, wasn't it? Akash says, great game from the lads. Sancho on fire, Lindelof quietly having an immense game, and thoughts on Wan-Bissaka. Start with Lindelof. Some of those drives forward for the second goal, wasn't it? He basically comes 60 yards up the pitch, gives the ball to Sancho, who flicks it into Bruno, but excellent game from him.
He's becoming one of my favourite players, funnily enough, which is weird. But I've been saying this for a while now. He's been completely consistent this season, in a season when no one else has been. And I mean consistently good rather than bad. And I think you look at the way he drives forward with the ball. He was doing it against Brighton a lot. He was carrying the ball. He's got the confidence. He's got the ability as well. Some of those runs, as your man just said in the chat there, were fantastic. And the irony is now, we've almost got a bit of an headache for the Atletico game, because you can't really drop Champions League Varane for the Champions League, can you?
No, unless he's still unwell. Obviously, he didn't start today. He came on.
Well, the fact he came on makes me think
minute.
he's not unwell, because I don't think you'd put him on.
True.
Do you know what I mean? So Maguire, your skipper, he's got his goal. He's almost back to his best. And Lindelof, I think you can use all three of them. There's an argument that all three of them should start.
I was going to say, do you think there's a chance that they do?
I would personally, I would not change the midfield for that, because I think you've got to change the midfield to make that work. And I wouldn't. I think I think he'll probably go with McTominay, Bruno, and Pogba, which is kind of working. Yeah. I wouldn't if it was me. I mean, Ralph Ragnick may disagree, but I don't think you shoehorn in a centre back because he's good.
No, me too. Me neither. Zachary Purvis, we needed this performance. Now start finishing more chances and the narrative will shift so fast. Loved Harry Maguire yelling into the stands that threw the corner at Elanga. Forgot how fun we can be to watch. Up the fucking Reds. Yeah, it was a better performance. And like I said, just such an exciting performance. One that's actually, enjoyable to watch and sort of engaging throughout, rather than something that's just kind of 50 minutes here, 30 minutes there, 40 minutes there. Meow, meow, meow. Just with a dancing character there.
Yes. Do you know what as well? Can I just say one thing? You can't revel in this too much. You can't go OTT. We have had such an awful season. Yeah, There's been horrible things to watch this season. Getting battered off the Scousers, losing to City.
Getting battered by Leicester and Watford.
Watching Ollie, who a lot of us loved, get sacked and get just going through the mill. It's been awful. Watching City go on these record-breaking runs. The Scousers dicking everyone. Yeah. It's not been nice as United fans. So when you get games against your arch rivals where you batter them, revel in it. Yeah. Be that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy it. This is what football's all about, enjoying these sorts of games. United for a Podcast says, today's headline, Scott makes Leeds cock bleed. Remember that little head collision?
That's disgusting.
Filthy. Absolute sick filth. Jibak Sahu says, Wan-Bissaka was shocking, Shaw was pretty average. Wan-Bissaka is I don't know, man, right?
He's like a Rubik's Cube when you got a blindfold on. I don't know what is going on. No. I couldn't tell you whether he had a good or bad game, and I watched it all. I don't know what Wan-Bissaka is. What is a Wan-Bissaka?
What is
I could not give him a player rating if my life depended. I could give him one, but it wouldn't be accurate
But it wouldn't be a number.
No, it would be like a sound, a vegetable or an element or something.
It'd be a sound. Like, and that sound would be I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
There was a time when he did a double tackle. He flew into one, I think it was on Rafinha or someone, and he flew into another one on Junior, and you're like, and like I said, mate, that's what you want. And then there was a time when he went up the other end of the pitch, gets the ball on the edge of the box. I think he tried to do a Cruyff turn. Yeah. And then when he's not, you can see he's not got control of his body. Like he's falling. He tried to shoot through 5 players.
And he does this thing where he'll get the ball, go 40 yards up the pitch, brilliant, great run, and then a 5-yard pass, he just passes it to their player.
And I think he needs someone to sit down to him and go, right, when you get here, like in this area, just give it to him.
Yeah.
Like, just give it to him and then just that's you. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a very confusing footballer. But listen, he played his part in a win. I'm not going to dig out the lad, but I do feel like you can't rely on him for the when I say the big games. This is a big game, but against the Cities and the Liverpools, despite the fact he has had good games against both those teams, I do worry because I just feel like going forward as well, he's just too erratic.
Yeah. Before we go, we've scored a corner. Have we turned one as well, Jay?
Nice. I use that phrase under David Moyes, so I'm not going to turn it. I'm not going to turn it. I'm not going to use it again. I think we've given ourselves a lot of positives today. Belief, the ability to get that monkey off our back in terms of conceding goals. We've never, well, not recently, when we've conceded equalisers, we haven't kicked on and got another goal. The only reason we made the Brighton game save was we got a second. Today we conceded 2 quick goals. Our heads could have dropped in a ground where, despite the fact I hate them, they are a very vocal, angry mob. So it's not an easy ground to go to. Yet we delivered not just one but another 2 great goals as well.
Yeah.
Great all round performance from everyone, and hopefully we can take that to Madrid, to the Wanda Stadium, whatever it's called, and get a win there as well.
Yeah, the Matthew Hahn says the horse leg statement sent me. Yeah, just talking about.
Well, yeah, that was
Wan-Bissaka. You know when you see a horse that's just been born and its legs are all long and it's not quite. It can walk, but it's not quite got to grips with them.
Yeah.
Sometimes Wan-Bissaka gets in that mode where it's like his legs are sort of buckling underneath him as he's trying to work out what to do. Like you said, he's sort of falling over.
Like, what am I doing? What is going on here?
Yeah.
It does feel like that with Wan-Bissaka, and I think with Wan-Bissaka, I know he's only 23 or whatever. I don't think you're going to change him.
No.
I think you have to just accept what we've got, and what we've got is madness.
And what we've got also is a 4-2 victory over Leeds. We'll be back shortly with Stephen Howson and his review. We'll have Adam McCullough tonight. We'll have all the build-up to the Atletico Madrid game. Big game, that one, isn't it, Jay? Man United have won 4-2 against Leeds, into the top 4. Little bit of a better performance as well. Some players who needed a good performance have had it.
And can I just say one thing to Leeds? I don't want to be too harsh on him. So I also want to say thank you for Eric Cantona.
Yeah.
Thank you for Rio Ferdinand. We enjoyed all the Premier League titles and the Champions Leagues that those players helped us win. Thanks to Alan Smith, who won the Premier League as well. And thank you for the 6-2 win, the 5-1 win. And thank you today for the 4-2 victory. It's been most enjoyable.
And thank you for watching. If you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in a bit.